In this video, we'll discuss how you can add the new multi-select token control to a UX component. So you can see here we have a UX component with a list control, and then above the list control we have a multi-select token control. So the reason that it's called a multi-select token control is that these selections here are called tokens, and you can select multiple of these tokens. So if I go to the drop-down list there and choose Canada, for example, we now have 3 selected tokens, and then I can basically either hit the backspace key right now to delete a token, or tap on the X icon in the token to delete the token. So you can also select tokens by just simply typing. So if I go here and start typing, say USA, and then tap on the selection, we can select a token there as well. And in this particular case here, we've filtered the list on the values in the token. So you can see that right now the list is showing all records where the customer is either in Argentina or the USA. If we go there and choose, for example, Brazil, then we're now seeing all customers in Argentina, Brazil, or the United States. If I go there and, for example, delete the USA token, then I'm just seeing customers in Argentina and Brazil. So now let's go and take a look at how the multi-select token control is added to the UX component and how it is configured. So if we go back now to design mode, we'll see that here we have our multi-select tokens control, and this control is added to the UX component by going to the data control section, clicking on the more button, and then selecting multi-select tokens from the list over here. So once we've selected the control, we can then go and configure the control. So you can see here we have the property sheet, and the choices that are displayed in the control can either come from a SQL query, they can either be a static list of choices, or they can come from an XBasic function that returns the list of choices. So if we go here, for example, and choose static, and then bring up the builder where we can define the static choices and then look at the sample data, we can see that this control is populated with a JavaScript object that has a property called data. And in the data property there's an array of choices, and each choice is an object that has a property called value, which is a required property, a property called display, which is also required, and then an optional property called list display. So this is the value that will be displayed in the choices. So once you make a selection from the available choices, the token will actually show the value in the display property. But if you were to submit the UX component, the value that would be submitted in the token would be the value property. So the choices can either be specified as mentioned previously, by defining a static list, a SQL query, or an XBasic function. So in this case we've said a SQL query, we've specified the name of our connection string, we've specified the table that we're going to be querying, and then we've specified which columns in the table will provide the value for the value property, which column will provide the value for the display property, and then the optional list display property, in this case we've omitted. Then we can define the actual properties of the choice list. So we've said here that the list should be a maximum of 300 pixels high, it should be 100% wide, and then we specified that we would like the user to be able to click on an icon to open the choice list. If we do not check this button over here, this property over here, then the only way that the choices are displayed is when the user actually starts typing into the choice list. We've now defined the icon that's going to be used to display the drop down, and also the icon that's going to be used in the token itself to delete the token. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now looking at the properties of the multi-select token control. So you can also specify whether the user can only enter values that are in the list of available choices, or whether the user must select from the list of choices. So you can see here that right now I have this property set off, which means that the user can type in any value that he wants, and when he presses enter, that value will be added to the list of tokens. And in that case, there's an event here called the value not in list event, which will fire when the user enters a value that's not in the list of choices. And then you can use this event to maybe add the value that the user just entered into maybe the SQL table where the choices are derived from. So if we go back here and look at this behavior of the not in list rule, we can see that this event here, which is just going to fire right now with an alert, will fire when I type in a value that's not in the list. So let's go here now, and the first value that I'll enter will be in the list. So I'll type in, say, USA and then press enter, and so the token is entered. Now I'll type in FRANCEX, which is not in the list. So when I press enter, you can see that basically the token is added, and then here's the event that fires that says the user event, the value is not in the list, and that token there got added to the control because I had allowed for it. You can also see here that these tokens have a rounded border, and that's because in the token properties here we specified that the CSS for the token is the default CSS, but that we want the rounded border style. You can completely customize the appearance of the token by choosing a custom token CSS and then going ahead here and defining the CSS for the token. But right now we'll go back to the default appearance right now, and let's change this to square right now, and then let's go ahead now and run this, and we'll see now what the tokens look like when we're using a square border. So go there and choose Belgium, and now the token has a square border. You can also see that when I make my selection from the token, the list itself is getting filtered. So if we go back now to the control and look now at the onChange event. So this is the event that fires when the value in the control changes, and you can see here we're using this event to filter the list using the compute search from metadata and filter list method. And this method here basically filters the list, which is list 1, using the options and the data defined in these two objects over here. So here we're specifying that we would like to search the list on the list's country field using the value of this.value. So this.value is the value in the control, and it's going to be an array of token values. And then we specified that we would like to sort the list by the country field, and we're not going to define any particular search options. So we basically then go ahead here and call the compute search from metadata and filter list method, and which then filters the list on the value in the multi-select token control on the country field. So if the multi-select token contains USA, France and UK, then we're going to find all records in the list where the country field is USA or France or country. So what we've shown in this video is how you can add a multi-select token control to a UX component and how you can configure the control. Thanks very much for watching.